Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first leg day of this new split. Now, today originally was supposed to have one exercise for hamstrings, like one set, and then two sets for quads, and that would have been the whole lift. But I decided to add an ab work also at the end. So, volume is crazy low, but it should progress as the split continues, or as the program continues. So, yeah, I talked about my new split in the previous video. So, if you want a more in-depth explanation, check that out. All right, and that's it for hamstrings. For the first week of this program, I'm supposed to leave 3 reps in reserve. It's kind of hard to judge sometimes, especially on a movement like this where there's different muscles that can give out before the intended muscle being hamstrings. So I'm sure as the program progresses, I'll get better at judging that. Yeah, let's move on to hack squat. Oh, fuck, somebody's on the hack squat. All right, post lift Mick here. If you guys are interested in actually seeing the app and like the numbers that it gives me and like the logs and everything, let me know and I'll include like a little video of the app and everything like that as it progresses throughout the program. But yeah, anyway, back to the actual lift. Oh, okay. I'm back over here. I'm trying to find a song that doesn't suck before I start this set. All right, that should be good. And if not, we'll do this. All right. Okay, so only 2 sets as per the program's instruction. 2 sets, each with 3 RIR. So we'll see how that goes. I've only ever done this to failure. See, normally I would keep going there, but I feel like I wouldn't have done another 3 solid reps before failure, so I had to stop. It just feels like such a bitch training like this. Okay, that's it for legs. Let's go do abs. All right, this is the last exercise. Very light volume day, but like I said, over the course of this mesocycle, the volume's going to increase, and hopefully the reps in reserve will decrease. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to do a pump check because I don't have much of one, but I'm still going to go talk over there. All right, world record shortest workout ever, but I mean, yeah, that's how it's going to be for this week. It's kind of like a calibration week, I think, and then it'll start progressively adding more and making it harder. But for those of you who didn't watch my last video, I'm going to be testing out the RP Hypertrophy App and see how it works. And it's more so like a learning thing, just to see how my body responds to different kinds of training, because, you know, the best way to learn about how to lift is trial and error, by far. I mean, you can watch people lift and listen to what people have to say, but that's all very personal, you know? What works for somebody might not work for you. So it's really good, especially early on in lifting, after, you know, you've gotten your technique and stuff down, to experiment with different kinds of lifting, different styles, different rep schemes and all that shit. But yeah, I figured, I talked about this in my last video, but it's going to be about a 6-week program, and there's 2 outcomes. 1, I gain a lot and learn a lot. 2, I waste my time. Best case scenario here, let's start here. Worst case scenario, I waste a month of my time. Okay, that's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario here is, or best case scenario in not doing it is, I save myself a month of time and I continue. The worst case scenario, if I don't do the app, is I could have learned something beneficial, and now I'm potentially going on years training not as effectively as I could be. On the flip side, the worst case scenario is I lose a month of training, big deal. But the flip side is I save myself years of training. So that's my thought process behind it. At the end of the day, it's only 1 month. If it proves not as efficient as my previous method of training, then I'm just going to go back. It's really not that complicated. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can see what kind of a, yeah, my quads aren't really pumped at all. So yeah, you can still see the lines, which means they're not very pumped. Abs, well, my abs actually look pretty good, considering the fact that I'm getting chunkier. I mean, yeah, 1 set of abs is going to get them a little pumped because I don't ever train abs, but yeah. And hamstrings, that 1 set did fuck all. But theoretically next week, I'm gonna be doing more sets with fewer reps in reserve, maybe. I don't know about that one yet, but we'll see. This is also kind of gonna be like a review while I'm doing the app, just to see my thoughts on it, you know, if anybody really cares. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like a message to everybody. You know, you never know what'll work for you, so why not take the chance and just try it, you know? Worst case scenario is you waste a little bit of time, but that's what learning is, right? You make mistakes and then you learn from the mistakes. That's the number one way to learn, is by doing. So, yes, I know, I feel like I'm training like a bitch by not going to failure. Trust me. You don't have to let me know in the comments. I'm well aware. I mean, just for a frame of reference, watch this leg day video and then go watch my last one, just as a comparison, and you'll see just how different it looks. Like, the last leg day is a bloodbath. But then again, my whole idea behind not going to failure now, or at least what I'm trying to understand with the idea of not going to failure, keeping like 2-3 reps in reserve, is, okay, I thought somebody was coming in here, is your training is like a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So if you just start going balls to the wall, training as hard as you can, going to failure, after your first week, and your second week, and your third week, eventually that fatigue is going to accumulate, and you're not going to be performing as consistently high as you could be. Let's say one set training to failure, you get this many gains. One set training with 2 reps in reserve, you get this many gains. Okay? But then as you progress with this, you're still in isolation. In isolation, by far, if you only have like 1 workout per week, go to failure. But if you're building up all these, eventually, this might be here on the first set, unlike in isolation, but over time, the average of the reps in reserve is going to be more consistent and higher because you're not going to be as fatigued for the later weeks or sets or whatever. So you're going to start here training to complete failure, but you might end over here, versus if you were to just train with reps in reserve, you know, you're more like that. At least that's what my idea is behind it. It's more of a fatigue management thing. Rather than just going balls to the wall full sprint every time, you go at a good pace, and you stay consistent, and you make consistent gains. At least that's what I believe is the case based on what research I've done. Might not be the case. It might not work for some people, might not work for a lot of people, but I'm going to give it a shot, see if it works for me. And yeah, like I said, worst case scenario, I just waste a month of my time. And I mean, the way I've been training in the past month or so, it's definitely been effective. I can tell just based on how I look and how I feel and my strength, but it could be working better. My logic now is, if I can get good results with not as optimal training, if I optimize it, I might be able to get way better results. Or I might not be optimizing shit and I might get completely worse results. You don't know until you try. So it's better to give things a shot and have them fail than to never try at all. There's a saying, I don't know. So I'm sure that you can look up some fucking saying, but trying and failing is better than never trying at all. Is the cliff notes of whoever said something along those lines. But yeah. So hopefully it gets a little more intense, because I like intense training. But also it's another thing, it's a little mentally draining, you know, because every set is, if you take every set to hell and back, you know, don't get me wrong, it's definitely like a soul cleansing experience, but it takes a lot out of you. Afterwards you feel like fuck yeah. But I don't know. Could all be bullshit. We'll see. If by MLK Day, which I'm pretty sure is the start of my deload week, I don't look 30 pounds heavier with pure muscle, then we know this is a scam. Okay, I'm gonna do my cardio. I'll see you guys tomorrow for back day. Well, back and some other things thrown in there.